Absorbed by aesthetic, they forget to breathe in the fresh air, suffocating to no end. Welcome back to another episode of Poems to Ponder. I guess I should explain what I mean by that. But as always, drop a like if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any suggestions of your own or just poems that you enjoy. So, what exactly did I mean by that initial poem? Well, without trying to sound like a judgmental freak, I think it is simply unavoidable not to mention the fact that people in and around my age have picked up in sort of fixation with aesthetics. Whether it's the cottagecore or the emo or punk, you know what I'm going for. People have these sort of stylized identities. And here let me say that I don't have a problem with aesthetics in general, or even trying one on, so to speak, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So what I mean by the lines following the first one is that it's sort of obvious that people have forgotten about themselves, their authenticity, while trying to put on an aesthetic performance. Or what's more important is the fact that people have sort of moved over to this thinking where they care too much about what others think about them or how they view them, which I think is no bueno. So here I return to me saying that I don't have a problem in general with aesthetics. If you like the punk aesthetic, that's fine, go for it. But what does become an issue is that people have this incessant idea of trying to market themselves with said aesthetic. Or it becomes an issue when they think it makes them look cool. Ultimately, aesthetics today, driven by social media and sort of this easier ability for it to pervade our external interactions, if you will, has made people forget authenticity. This is just my opinion, and let me know what you think. Moving on to the next, here's something short and simple. Stuck in the mud, potentiality uplifts you. I've made quite a few videos with this sort of message before, but here it's stripped to the bare bones, which, if I do say so myself, I enjoy. Feelings of doubt, worry, and so on can be solved by very simple means sometimes. You don't need to dress it up in this elaborate way. That is your solution to the problem. It's really very, very simple, which I was trying to accomplish with this poem. At the end of the day, I don't really think that it's necessary to make the 10-minute videos that I have. I think it could be solved with just 2 lines of words, for example. The very basic idea of human potential, I feel, is enough to drastically change or even improve someone's situation, if not their whole life. Here, let me say that I understand people have very, very tough situations, and so something this simple might not help. You might need some outside or external help with either a therapist or something along those lines. So I'm not trying to minimize people's issues. What I am trying to say is that ultimately a lot of our mundane feelings are simply fixed. And that's why I say can be here. Human potentiality can be a solution to your problem. Just a simple idea of it. It's not that it is the solution, but it can be. I'm really just obsessed with this idea. Growing up, this sort of idea wasn't very prevalent in my life, and so now that I see it, it's awesome, for lack of a better word. Be grateful that you're human. While us humans have most definitely messed up, it's still an amazing experience, and really a gift. To express my pain almost feels like showing off an outfit looked down on as attention-seeking, and yet how many screams have been muffled by the pillowy fluff. Now, this poem is something I related to more so when I was younger, but I still do feel it nowadays, occasionally, and I think most people may feel the same. Occasionally, it feels as if when we don't have everything all together, we need to keep it to ourselves. Whether it's fear of what others will think, or the fact that we don't have anyone to confide in, there can be a multitude of reasons for said feeling. The sort of old-fashioned trope of men needing to keep their mental health issues isn't really all the way gone just yet. And that goes for everyone, not just men. You need to find an extremely trustworthy person still to let them know the darkness that you're experiencing. Either way, it's still very frequent that we're hesitant to share these dark experiences, our sadness, our pain, with other people. Indeed, how many screams, cries for help have been muffled by the pillowy fluff? societal convention, human pretentiousness. However, there is something to showing off these emotions much like you would an outfit that you enjoy. It's a raw representation of our humanity, something that should be celebrated, and in an epistemic way, it's all we have. It's something that we should do more often, I feel. A life well lived, a curious phrase, might as well be X equals Y. Who's to say? First of all, to any mathematicians out there, if that breaks any rules of logic y'all have, feel free to clown me. I don't think it does, but maybe it does somehow in some academic sort of way. But anyways, the point remains the same here, which I'm gonna get into. All the time when people pass on, you hear it said that they've had a life well lived. I understand that saying such a thing may be done to provide comfort to those experiencing grief, but at the end of the day, who's to say that that person's life was well lived other than the person who lived the life themselves? And that's assuming you don't think there's a God, but yeah, I'm sort of taking that for granted. But anyways, it then begs a further question. Should you not live your life how you want to? Also, I think this realization should bring something else about, a new idea, and that's very cliche, but you shouldn't care what others think. To an extent, of course, don't treat them bad, but who's to say if a life is well lived? At the end of the day, each individual life can be a life well lived. It's not up to any person or society as a whole to say that it was well lived. All it is up to you. Peace and love.